Hi and welcome. Today I'm going to show you what I've done with my V5 Paris Mega board on my Reconn V3. Now some of this is a little bit different to how it might be on yours. I do some little modifications and stuff to please myself, just different things I do, which won't be as per the kit you get from Multi-rotor, but there's been a couple of requests because when I originally did the Reconn V3 build videos, of course, we were at the version 4 Paris board, and all we had was on that board, the only external item was the GPS. If you had it, you didn't. That was an option. But with the V5 board, you get the GPS, you get an external magnet sensor. So there's been some guys requesting some info on where they need to go and what, how, and you know. So to update the Reconn V3 build videos, here's how I have my V5, the new R3 board, mounted on my Reconn V3. I'm also going to touch on the new Andromeda V3 while we're here. Okay, so in the previous videos, what I did was I had the Paris board built as the stack with the Andromeda underneath the top plate. Okay, you can still do that, except with the V3 Andromeda you want that on top of the top plate, not under it. And you can still extend the mounts down and have the Paris board mounted below the top plate like I did in the original Reconn build videos. But as a mod, something I do, it's my preference, it's not how the kits come, but you can see here what I've done is I've gotten one of the optional spare top plates, and I actually mounted it below the 4 spaces and then mounted the Paris onto that plate. So my Paris stays fixed to the frame when I take the Andromeda off. If you build the kit as it was originally intended, when you undo these 4 screws here, the Andromeda and the Paris moves aside. It comes off as in one piece. There's no right and wrong way to this. There's no right and wrong way to a lot of what we do with Scarab builds. A lot of guys think, oh, I've got to do it this way, but a lot of the stuff, it's personal preference. There are some things you have to do. There's not a lot of things, but most of it, yeah. One of the things you have to do when you're dealing with any Paris is be very wary of I2C errors, and I'm going to go through that as well while I'm doing this. One of the things you have to do is keep the GPS away from the mag sensor. These two can't be together. The wiring of these two can't loop around each other, can't touch each other, can't cross each other. You need to keep the mag sensor and the GPS separately. Okay? Now people are asking where to mount them. Well, the only one that's really hard and fast rule is the mag sensor. The mag sensor needs to be away from any other electrical noise. So you can't put the mag sensor next to an ESC. You don't want to put the mag sensor next to, I've got my brushless gimbal controller sitting here at the back on my Reconn 3. You don't want the mag sensor too close to it. It's electrically noisy. You don't want the mag sensor next to your video transmitter. You don't want the mag, you can't have it anywhere near the GPS. You're not going to want it anywhere near the Andromeda 3, so you're not going to be sticking it on top of that. The logical and the proper place for the mag sensor, as we used to do with the old GPS which had the mag built in, is actually put the mag sensor down on the tail. And I recommend that you actually have it as far back on the tail as you can have it. Right? Be careful how you route the cable. You want to keep it away from all the other stuff, so it can sort of go around this side of the board, ready to plug into the I2C connector here at the front of the Paris board, and it can sit about there. Now remember, with the mag sensor, the arrow on it points to the back and the writing has to be on the top. Now, as a trick I do, it's something I do, you don't have to, I actually, and you can't even see it at the moment, mount there's my mag sensor. You can actually see the grey is the tape holding it inside the tail. I've actually got it mounted between these two layers of the tail. But because it is, and I've got it on the underside of the top plate. Why? Because I've got a video transmitter on the bottom plate, and I've got my RF receiver sitting in here inside the tail. So to keep it as far away from the video transmitter and there, I've got it as far back, and I've got it up underneath the top plate. Because it's underneath the top plate, the double-sided tape is on this top surface. So even though it's sitting underneath this plate, it is still writing side up, arrow pointing back. So that's where I have my mag sensor. Now, GPS on a Paris V5 can go anywhere. It really can, because we used to have to mount the old GPSs away from everything electrically noisy. With certain other brands of device, you have to put the GPS on a big stalk away from everything because it's got the mag sensor built into it. The GPS on most flight controllers is also the mag sensor, but with Paris V5, mag sensor is all its little own device. So I can have my mag sitting all the way back here, which means the GPS can go anywhere. I've got it sitting here on a piece of Velcro just in front of the nose. It's sitting on a bit of Velcro because I need to actually unclip it anytime I want to plug in my USB lead. But I've successfully placed them on top of the Andromeda. I've placed them over here on the sides. I've done another one of these FPV mounts off an arm and placed them on the arm. As long as it's not near the mag, doesn't matter where it is because it will interfere with the mag. The mag doesn't interfere with it. It interferes with the mag. So the GPS can go basically anywhere you want to put the GPS. Okay? Doesn't matter. It's really not that fussy. But the top surface of it needs to be clear of everything else. You don't want anything above it, and you don't want anything that's tall too close to any sides of it. So I've got it out there, and once my Andromeda goes back on, that's not very tall next to it. If you put it, when I used to have it over here, the Andromeda was a bit sort of close to one side. This was sort of blanking off. It needs to see as much of the sky as it possibly can. Okay, so my one I've got sitting right there. It's a bit wobbly on the Velcro, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It won't fall off in flight. That's all that matters. Okay, so that's basically how I've laid out the other accessory parts of my Paris V5. I'm going to leave you with that video for now, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at what I've had to do with the Andromeda V3 on my Reconn here.